The 2025 Swimming Championships in Singapore are very nearly here. After a very exciting but slightly slow Olympic Games last year, we can't wait for the swimming to get started, and there are plenty of names to get excited about. In this week's bonus podcast, we're going to take you through our top 10 swimmers that we can't wait to watch when Singapore comes around. Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Propulsion Swimming Podcast. I'm your host Scott, and back with me as always is my trusty co-host Dan, and on this week's episode we're going bonus episode because there's plenty of things we can talk about leading into World Championships, but we're going to name 5 men and 5 women we can't wait to see when Singapore gets started.
Yeah, I mean there's obviously more names than just 10 to look out for, but I think we've got our top 5 men, top 5 women to look out for. We could have named more, and leave a comment down below if we have missed anyone that you think should be in this list. But I think we've got it probably about right. Would you agree?
There's a bit of British bias coming into this because we're homers. We host this podcast. We're allowed to be homers, so we've got 2 Brits in each men and women category, just because we're genuinely excited to see what they could do when Singapore comes about. But I think let's get straight into it, and we're going to go through the men's side first, and then we'll go to the women's side, because actually when we get to the women's side, it's quite hard because it is swallowed up by one swimmer, a lot of the races and potentially a lot of the medals.
Yes.
But that kicks things off. I've got to start with David Popovic. It's an obvious one. He's just set the fastest time in the world in the 200 meters freestyle. He set the fastest time in the world this year in the 100 meters freestyle. Yeah. How can you not be excited? He is an Olympic champion. He's a former world champion. He's kind of got, I'd say, the pressure off his back now, to be perfectly frank. At 20 years old, he's kind of accomplished what he wants to accomplish. Now it's swimming fast.
Yeah, well, maybe you are right. The pressure is less, but I think that might be the case for a lot of swimmers. Like, the Olympic year is done. You've got ages really until the next one, 3 more years. So swimmers might be playing around with different tactics and what works and what doesn't work, experimenting. I know Duncan Scott's quite used to doing a lot of experiments, isn't he? Seeing what does work. And Popovic, I don't think he's actually changed too much in terms of tactics. His come-home speed is absolutely insane and getting better and better all the time, as what he's proved with the 100. And the 200, obviously he's off his PB based on his 142 he did, I think it was 2, maybe 3 years ago now. Can he get back to a 142? I suppose is the biggest question. He will have fast swimmers to deal with obviously Hobson being the other 43 swimmer this year.
I think the most exciting thing for me is, unlike everyone else, he swam his fast times relatively close to World Championships. So logically dictating, surely he can't get worse. Like, obviously the time may not reflect the swim, so like the 200 meters might come down to tactics. Is the like that time, like, especially at the Olympic Games, it didn't come down to the time, it came down to the race and who got the hand on the wall first. But I'm thinking a bit more rest, or even starter taper. Who even knows if he was tapered at European Aquatics under 23s? I think maybe the most exciting thing is I think he can still get faster. The times that he swam at European Aquatics under 23s, surely he wasn't fully tapered, 4 weeks out from a World Championships, 5 weeks out from a World Championships. You've got to presume that he goes faster this summer, which is a terrifying prospect for everyone else.
Yeah, I always perceive him as a 200 metre swimmer, even though he hit the world record in the 100 first. But actually, I'm more excited about his 100 right now, because if he's coming back in a sub-24, which is the first swimmer to have ever done that, and he will be racing someone like Pan, who is known for, going out strong, as well as coming back strong as well, but going out strong, can he hold on to Pan's shoulder, let's say, or hip even, and then come home in the speed that he can as well to even get close to a potential 100 free world record? Even though I think that world record from Pan is nigh on perfect, maybe Pan has something up his sleeve, but he hasn't. Maybe. I think we've heard that he's ill, or has been ill. That's why he hasn't been as fast as he has been this year, but maybe he'll be back on form come Singapore. But yeah, the 100 is very exciting. Obviously hit a European record in that swim in Slovakia, and I'm more excited about that one than the 200, even though the 200 I think is his better event, which is baffling to say sometimes.
Oh, see, I'm more excited about the 200 because I think there's one hell of a battle that's going to take place, and I think it's going to be very fast all round.
I think it's going to be. Is it going to be? Is it classed as a head-to-head, or is there more than just the two swimmers of Hobson and Popovich, or Pan and Popovich? I think you've got to include the Brits in there. You've got to include Martins, obviously, Huang, Somerville. There's a few names in there. Like we've probably basically named the final, give or take, just there. So, he's going to be in some tough races. He's not going to be swimming by himself, which is what he had at the under-23s very recently. So it'll be a very different race altogether.
Now, you've just mentioned our next swimmer on this list, which is Lucas Martins. He has been, in 2025, the first man to ever go sub 340 in the 400 metres freestyle. We watched him poolside in season at the AP race London International going a 342, which is almost absurd. That would have won World Championships a few years ago by quite a long way. Why is he a swimmer to watch? Well, if you break a Paul Biedermann Supersuit world record in a season, I cannot wait to see what you do fully rested, fully loaded at a World Championships.
If he can go sub 340, which I still find is mind-blowing, especially with the splits that he did, going out at 147 for the first 200 is insane. I suppose the biggest question really is that could we have two swimmers that go 340? Martins being one, obviously. Could Shorts join him, or one of the other guys who have gone 343s, Winnington, Clement, whoever?
I'm not sure I can answer that, but imagine how gutting it would be to be the second guy sub 340, and you're not even world champion. Because that has been a huge mark for a very long time. I think we possibly could see it. But the way Martins has swam this year, even in season, like how fast we saw him race in London, which even that swim would put him in the top 2 this year alone.
Yeah.
You cannot be...
Oh, he's favourite for sure. Absolutely favourite.
You cannot not be excited to see what he does in Singapore. And it's the first day. Like the 400 metres freestyle is going to start the World Championships with an absolute bang.
You've got to for sure say he's favourite. When you're a good second ahead of everyone else in the world, you've got to be favourite. But I think the Sam Short effect will... I think I said to you on a previous podcast, I think Sam Short will actually try to dictate this race. Even though, based on the world record that Martin swam, his first 200 split was quicker than one Short did at his Aussie trials. But I do think Short will really attack it, and then it will come down to a war of attrition, which is brilliant showcase for swimming fans on the very first day of World Champs.
Next up on this list, Leon Mashond. We've kind of been light on the previewing of Leon Mashond in the months leading into the World Championships because he's been quiet. He's been out training in Australia. He's not really had to show his hand at a trials, being there's not the depth at French that there is at US or even British. But he's still gone a 4:07.1. 400 metres individual medley. He is the fastest in the world for that, and the second fastest is Carson Foster, because Bobby Fink isn't racing that, and that's almost a second clear.
Yep.
How much of a time drop we see in it, I do not know. When it comes to World Championships, I don't think he needs to go a 4:02 or anything like that. The 200 metres individual medley, there has been talk here and there that Ryan Lochte's record is under threat. Again, I just do not know what he's capable of this year. I presume he's been in ridiculously heavy training every time he's raced, and you know what, Bob Bowman swimmers do tend to get their tapers right, so when it hits in Singapore, maybe we see a sub 154. Maybe. Maybe.
You see the times that he's done so far this year in the 157 for a 200 IM and 4:07 for a 400 IM, roughly speaking. He's 2 or 3 seconds off on the 200 IM, and then 5 seconds, maybe 6 seconds on the 400. On the 400. It's kind of there or thereabouts equally on both events. So if you're going with a Bob Bowman approach, it seems like he is on pace and doing the right thing to then do really well in these events. But it's difficult to tell because he hasn't actually shown his hand or anything like that. He's been out in Australia, which I'm assuming he's concentrating on improving the back end of his freestyle. Assumption-wise,
maybe, you're assuming.
Since all the other strokes are extremely good. I'm not saying his freestyle isn't bad, because it is amazing, but you don't need to do much with the fly, much with the breaststroke. He's fixing the freestyle. Maybe in the next year or two he'll then try and fix his backstroke, and then suddenly you're dealing with someone who's absolutely unbeatable. He might be unbeatable right now, but the 400 is his race. I think the 200 is a bit more exciting because you have other swimmers like Katas or Duncan or Carson Foster to really challenge him. And I don't know if the world record is going to go. I think that's out of reach at the moment. But I'd love to be proven wrong.
Yeah, either way, he's definitely a swimmer to watch. He always will be while we are writing these lists in the near future, I think. And then to finish on the men's side, I'm going to group these two together because we've got two backstrokers. Hubert Cos, I'm going to start with I think mainly I'm more excited in the 200. You, Dan, think he can threaten in the 100. He had a very good NCAA season. I think he won both backstroke titles, beating British hopeful Johnny Marshall. And yet, I still don't think he's anywhere near what he's capable of. He had a really, really strong Olympic Games. Almost felt like a breakout meet for him. And with Hungarian swimming now missing Christoph Milak, it seems, at every World Championships, I think Hubert Cos will have the weight of a nation on his shoulder. I'm not sure. The momentum of a nation, because Hungarian swimming is big. It's huge.
It's very big. They've always had the one sort of star swimmer. Hosu was before she retired, and then Milak almost kind of took that role. And Cos, I think, now is the one to look up to. Being Olympic champion obviously helps. Even though he's fifth fastest this year in the 200, I think he's a 200-metre backstroker more so than the 100. He's a fifth fastest this year, but I still put him as favourite. I know he's a good second, well, actually more than a second, behind Akins, who I believe is the fastest this year from America. I think Cos is still the one to beat, unless you disagree. Akins looked good. He did look good in trials, but I think Cos is the one to challenge and try and beat.
Again, I think this is the faith of the Bob Bowman squad and the Bob Bowman swimmers, because we've just talked about Leon Mashond. We know he will do something special because he's got Bob Bowman in his corner. Hubert Cos is a Bob Bowman swimmer. He followed Bob Bowman from ASU to Texas, and he reaped the rewards last year. I can only see it getting better. I don't see it going downhill.
No, definitely not. The underwaters are extremely good, and the technique is obviously flawless, or close to as flawless as it can be. But I am looking more forward to the 100 for some reason. So we went a 52.2 back in April, which is not too dissimilar to the swimmer we're about to talk about in a minute. But obviously, if he's got the early speed, early-ish in the season, that's going to bode well, surely, for the 200 later on. Because if you've got the speed at the start and then you try and build on that back end, which I think a lot of 200 swimmers do really towards the end of the season, his 100 is going to look good. And he might be, I wouldn't put him as favourite for the 100, but I think he might challenge for a high podium place.
I get that, especially after an NCAA season where you win the double. I think that's the other, that you've got to have the speed to win short course yards. Okay, you've teased it there. This is our Homer British coming out. So in the comments section, I mean, you can slate us if you want to, but we're going to bring this up. Ollie Morgan in the 100 metres backstroke. The drops that he has made we were excited going into Paris, just knowing he had a potential to make a final in the 100 metres backstroke, which is something a backstroker in Britain hasn't done for a while in the 100. The 200, we've been strong with Luke Greenbank for quite a while now. Yeah. The 100, we have not had even a 52-point swimmer for a long time. We now have a 52-1 swimmer, and Ollie swim at British Champs. We spoke to him poolside at British Champs, and he still felt there was more to come.
Yeah, well, he said the finish wasn't absolutely perfect. I mean, I don't know how much
it wasn't as bad as some people made out.
No, I think people were saying like he glided, and like, yes, there was a definite glide, but not to the extent of people exaggerating. Like he's really glided there. He's got 0.2 to shave off there. Maybe not as much as that. But I'm looking forward to seeing him hopefully go a sub 52. And if you're going a sub 52, obviously it's a British record, that I think is maybe good enough for gold. He's not going in fastest. Kalishnikov is the fastest by only 0.1, I think it is. But if you're going a 51 point, you're in the hat. You're on the podium, I think. I'm actually really excited. It's challenging swim for him. But the way he's been dropping time recently, he's looking in good shape, and obviously the confidence is flowing. Gary Humpage is doing wonders with him in Birmingham. He has said that he's going to stay there for at least another year, which I think is the right thing. See how he gets on with the big boys, because it's a big field to try and get through.
It is, but it isn't, if that makes sense, because there's no Ryan Murphy anymore racing at this year's championships. There's no Hunter Armstrong racing anymore. There's no Australian. I understand we haven't probably seen the full works of Thomas Cech on so far this year because, again, like Leon Mashond, he was out training in Australia in the winter. No one really has seen what he's capable of. And then there's Zhai Yu from China. We never really see what the Chinese swimmers are really, truly capable of until they come to World Championships. So there are big names. And I mean, Kalashnikov wasn't at the Olympic Games. There's a threat there. He has been a formidable... I really do think the 50 is his strongest event.
Yes.
But he has been a formidable backstroker for a very long time, even if we've not seen him on the world stage. But how can we not put Ollie as one of the swimmers to watch? How can we not be excited as a British swimmer to have a fast 100 metres backstroker? It's just odd for us to be saying these things. And for you to be talking 51 seconds, man, I love it. I absolutely love it.
I just love the fact that he came out of the interview we did with him saying that, well, yeah, the British record, we've got a low 52. The next game is the world record. And you think, wow, really? 51.6? I mean, it's not a million miles away. I know it's 100 metres. I know it's 0.5, I think it is, which is still, it's a decent chunk. But the fact that he believes he can do it...
He's still growing as a swimmer. Like the transition this year has definitely been the gym work and seeing how...
Oh, he's definitely bulked up.
It's the strength that he's added to his frame and his technique and it's clear endurance that he's got because of the way he races the 200 backstroke. It's paying dividends.
Yeah, I think that's the other side of it, is that he's getting more confident to attack these races and do whatever it takes to go the fastest times, which you saw in the 200 at trials, going out ridiculously quickly and then trying to hold on for the end, which he did. A 155.5 is actually pretty good. I think it's 5th, maybe 6th fastest in the world right now. I wonder how he approaches that event. The 100 is going to be the main focus. How is he going to do the 200?
Not sure. The 100's the focus, I think, this championships.
Yeah.
Okay, that is the men's side quickly roundup. Those are our 5 swimmers to watch. Let us know in the comment section on YouTube if you have 5 different male swimmers that you are looking forward to. I'd love to know everyone's thoughts, especially like where you come from around the world, because people have better knowledge of swimmers. Like we could have easily thrown in 100 fly swimmer in this. We could have put in Liendo, we could have put in Grosset, we could have put anyone. But, you know, we had a bit of a homo bias at the end of it.
Oh, but the men's 100 fly is really difficult. I've got no idea.
Can I just put that as an event to watch?
Yeah,
absolutely. Okay, moving on to the women's side, and I'm going to start with the obvious, Summer McIntosh. After setting 3 world records at her trials, second fastest all time in the 200 metres butterfly, second fastest this season and all time in the 800 metres freestyle, it's going to be a summer world championships. There's no doubt in my mind whether she breaks world records, whether it's not that I don't really care. I don't think that will matter whether it's going to be like she's going to be the star of these games. The times that she set at the Canadian trials were mad. They were incredibly good. I'm looking forward the most to the battle with Ledecky in the 800 metres freestyle. Everything else almost feels as close to a sewn-up gold as possible. Maybe the 2 IM, there is a battle there, but she's 2.5 seconds clear of the rest of the world right now.
She's miles ahead. She's miles ahead. Let's just get rid of the 400 IM. She's won that. She's so far ahead of the rest of the world. Barring disaster and DQ, obviously, I think she's like 10 seconds clear of the rest of the world and 400. So wipe that off. She's won that. 200 IM, I think...
She probably won't win it by 10 seconds, but she is a long way clear.
Yeah, she's a long way clear. I think the 200 IM is probably the same, even though it's a deeper field. Like, based on last year, we were saying it's the race of the whole meet. But then suddenly she's done a 205 and suddenly just found another level, and so she'll probably win that as well. Exciting from a British homer point of view. Abby Wood's got a great chance, but we're talking about summer. The 400 free, there's no Titmus, so you suddenly take the previous world record holder out, and you're just dealing with Ledecky. I know that's a big scalp and a big name, but I think
Ledecky has done well this year.
356, I believe it was.
Which is good. Really good until you see a world record.
Yeah, so you see Summer McIntosh go 2.5 seconds quicker than that. So you think, yeah, okay, the 400 free, that's probably going to go to her way as well. But it's the other 2 events, the 800 free and the 200 fly. I don't think the gold is the question for the 200 fly. It's whether the world record gets hit in that event. And then, yeah, I agree. The 800 free is
the battle.
Probably the race of the whole meet, potentially, as well as the men's 100 fly, like we were saying a moment ago. But the head-to-head between Summer and Ledecky will be massive. It might take a world record to actually win that event. And then it's maybe a bit of a coin flip as to who actually wins that race. So tune in for that one for sure.
I'm struggling to pick at this moment in time. We're going to have another podcast. We might even have uploaded it by this point. We're going to have a gold medal prediction podcast, and we're going to have to pick. So Dan might be flipping a coin.
Again, yeah. I also flip a coin.
You always do, one or another.
Yeah.
You take all responsibility out of your choices when it comes to that.
Yeah, I won't do that this time. I will pick one, don't worry.
Sure. Okay. Next up then on the women's side is Gretchen Walsh. And I think we're going to throw in the next swimmer as well because they go back and forth in a lot of these events. But Gretchen Walsh has taken butterfly swimming to a completely new level in the past 12 months. Things didn't go perfectly at the Olympic Games, but there is no question she's now firm favourite in the 100 metres butterfly. She's the first person ever to go sub 55, and she's a long way sub 55.
It's ridiculous.
The 50 metre fly, maybe the Sostrom world record's up for grabs. And then you throw in the freestyle events, of which she's the fastest in the 50 metres freestyle this year, the third fastest in the 100. So the 100 won't go her way. The butterflies should go her way. The 50 is a bit more of a coin flip.
Yeah.
But we're going into another World Championships where I think the last World Championships, the short course World Championships, how many world records did Gretchen set? Like 9?
Oh, 9, yeah, 11. I think it was a lot. It was ridiculous. Yeah, mad swimming. And she has taken that form into long course swimming. I know there's less turns and less underwaters to do, but and that is her strength, obviously, but the actual swim speed is quite phenomenal as well. The shoulders action that she has, the range of movement is incredible. Let's go event by event. Let's go with a 100 fly first because that's easy. I think the world record is on the cards here. How much further can she push it, though? I suppose is up for debate. But she's won that. She's a good second, maybe like a second and a half clear on 100 metres. We're talking Adam Peaty dominance, really, on the 100 metres breaststroke. That's why I'm kind of relating it to. The 50 fly, I think she's also going to win that. It's just whether she got the American record at her trials, whether she gets close to the social world record, which I thought once upon a time was the third hardest record to break. She's got a chance of doing that. Got to find another 0.2, mind you, which is a lot over a 50. And then the freestyle events are the tougher events for her because she's got more of a challenge. I think the 53 might go her way, but it's just whether her reactions are on point. The underwaters will be too much for the rest of them. It's just whether she can hold on for the rest of that race. And then the 100 won't go away, like you say, because you've got Husk and Steenberg and other swimmers who are going 52s as well.
Let's talk about Husk then, because she's the third swimmer on our women's side to watch. And it's kind of there's a big crossover here with Gretchen Walsh. So in recent years in the women's side of swimming, we've had some massive head-to-heads. We've had your triple header we've already talked about of like McIntosh, Ledecky and Titmus. And then we've had McEvoy against Regan Smith, and we could easily put that as the head-to-head to watch. But actually, I think left field at this World Championships, I think the Gretchen Walsh, Tory Husk head-to-head, because they cross over on 3 of the 4 events. The 100 fly, the 50 free, and the 100 free. Yes, we've already said the 100 fly is a little bit out of reach, but the 50 and the 100 free, they are genuinely hard to pick between the two of them. And I think there is a little bit of a sneaky good rivalry brewing.
Yeah, especially on the 50, the 53. I think it will be very similar to your Kaylee and Regan situation with the world record in the 100 backstroke, for example, because the American record, I think, is just going to keep going lower and lower on this 53, and it's going to be Gretchen's one time, then it's going to be Tory's the other time, and then it's going to go back to Gretchen. I think it's going to be a tussle on that. The 100 free, I think, is more Tory Husk's main event, I think.
Okay.
She is the fastest this year going in, but like I was saying with Gretchen just then, you have to deal with Steenberg and Molly O'Callaghan. I think is probably weirdly the favourite going in.
She's had a quiet prep.
She still went 52, so she's off the pace in terms of fastest this year, but can't count her out. But yeah, I think you might be right with the head-to-head between Husk and Walsh, and it might go on for a number of years yet.
It might be a very good thing for that American 4x1 freestyle relay.
Oh my gosh,
given the recent dominance of Australia in that, I think that could be changing.
With the addition of Kate Douglas and other swimmers like that, yeah.
Exactly.
They've got to be favourites, surely.
Okay, just mentioned Kaylee McKeown. I'm going to put her forward again as the 4th woman that we cannot wait to look out for at these World Championships. On all accounts, Kaylee McKeown so far in 2025 has had a very, very quiet build-up. Not compared to previous years where at the Australian trials, she broke world records. She smashed times. This year, maybe there's a little bit of a pressure off Like, because the two of them, Kaylee and Reagan, have said it's a really pressured field head-to-head over the past few years, and it has taken its toll. This year, she's going in second fastest in the 50 metres backstroke. She's going in second fastest in the 100 metres backstroke. She's fastest in the 200 metres backstroke, which I think is her best event right now, because no one can get close to the splits that she does and how she paces that. But I wonder if it's going to be a slightly freer Kaylee McKeown at these World Championships, which is terrifying because, again, speaking of no pressure, there's no 200 metres individual medley in her schedule. No. I don't think. So she put a lot of pressure on herself to come away from the to come away from Paris with big gold medals, and she did. This World Championships, how much faster can she go? I don't know. I'm just excited.
What I'm excited about, I kind of put Kaylee and Reagan in the same bracket because they are, give or take, they're the top. Well, no, they are the top two backstrokers on the women's side by, I was going to say a distance, but actually there might be a third swimmer coming through, Catherine Burkhoff, who I would say is favourite for the 50, and she might challenge on that 100 potentially as well. Okay. Even though I still think Reagan and Kelly are ahead, but you never know. Catherine Burkhoff, with the speed that she has on the first 50, she could hold on that final 50. You just never know. But maybe it is a scary thought, the fact that Kaylee might have a little bit of pressure off, if you want to call it that. She's still having to race Reagan, obviously, and she'll still want to win. But the times aren't as electrifying as what we're kind of accustomed to, even though fastest or second fastest in the year in all of those events. Will she get close to the world records, I suppose, is the biggest question that we have for her.
I'm not sure. Let us know in the comment section below. I've said multiple times those world records are very, very good now. Like, yes, outstandingly good. Not that any world record isn't outstandingly good, obviously. But I just think the battle between those two heading into Paris has just dropped those records to mad levels. If it goes again, like, you've got to put that down as one of the races of the games, or one of the races of the championships. And again, it probably might go under the radar slightly. Yeah, how good those times are.
Yeah, I mean, we should probably talk about Claire Cousin as well, who for another fourth swimmer to join the top two, if you like, who went a 2:05 and actually beat Reagan in at the American trials as well. So there's another name to add into it. But it's still Kaylee and Reagan's races to miss, if you like, if that's the right terminology. Probably not. But still a name to watch out for sure.
Okay, and we're going to finish our swimmers to watch with another Homer, another British swimmer. But Angar Evans goes into this year's championships as the fastest 100-metre breaststroker this year with a 1:05.37 from trials. British record. Looks like she set right some of the wrongs at trials last year. The Olympic Games wasn't wrong at all. Her Olympic Games, she was very, very close to podiuming. And this year, I think the work on the 200 metres breaststroke is going to bode her really, really well in the 100 because she's the third fastest in the world this year in the 200. I'm not expecting her to challenge for gold in the 200 metres breaststroke. If she did, fantastic. But Kate Douglas is a 2:19 swimmer in the 200 breaststroke. That's phenomenal speed. You've got Chuganova as well, who is very, very fast. The 100, do you know what? It's a little bit like Ollie Morgan. Timing things to perfection in an event which just has a tiny bit of a down year. There's no outstanding 1:04 Lily King in here. There's no 1:04 Ruta. There's no 1:04 Russian swimmer. Don't get me wrong, there are phenomenal swimmers still entering this. Tang, Alan, Douglas is still going to be there. Yefimova. But if there was a time for Angar to go and win a gold medal in the 100 metres breaststroke, you kind of get the feeling now is the time that it could be brewing.
A very similar conversation of what we had with Ollie, really. She came away from the interview saying the next target is a 1:04. And then instantly you just think, well, if you go 1:04, you're in with a podium for sure, and then potentially gold. I know Tang has gone extremely quick before, and so that might be the biggest challenge for Angar. But to go out 1:04 is you're dealing with the elite of the elites then. Be amazing if she were to medal, obviously. I actually think she may even win it. I think she's now got this confidence about her to go into this race thinking I am the top dog, and then she'll try and swim through the rounds like all these swimmers try and do and get quicker and quicker, and then maybe I think a 64 is on the cards. Because I think she just went to Seti Collie and went a 65 in season. Even a 200 was quite good, 2:23 I think it was. in season, which I think is really good for her. So I think everything is boding well for Angar at the moment, and it just needs maybe that one big gold medal win or that big swim at an international meet to really skyrocket this confidence, and then suddenly floodgates open and she's onto a winner.
Yeah, I'm going to try not to get too ahead of ourselves here. So that it's a little bit like Ollie in the fact that she's been making the drops consistently and big drops. So you can see that there's progress there. You can see like the PB is not the end point quite clearly with the jumps that she's been making. I hope she wins a gold, but I don't want the British public, British swimming fans to come away. If Angar gets a bronze medal at this World Championships, I think that's a huge success.
Still good.
I do not want people to think it's gold or bust. Is kind of the logic I'm going in. She is now the minimums of a final. She is very capable of a final.
Yes.
To get on the podium at this stage in an Olympic cycle after a very good first international season last year, it was her first international season, would be another step in the right direction. She's one to watch because I want I want golds to come from elsewhere for this British team at this meet. I'd love the Ollie Morgans, your Angar Evans. I want them to come elsewhere from your freestylers, from your Adam Peaties. And I think something is brewing, which is why she's on our list of one to watch. Whether it's this games, next championships, I'm not too fussed. I'm just excited by the progress.
Our medals have usually come from the men's side, historically, in the last 5 or so years. So the fact that you had Lauren Cox win the 50 backstroke at the last Worlds, that's
a medal, yeah.
A medal, and that was huge though. I mean, dealing with the backstrokers we've literally just been talking about, and Lauren Cox has a good chance of medaling yet again after a British record at AB International. And then you've got Angar, who's then potentially, let's say, win a medal again. Suddenly women's swimming is looking pretty good, which will then encourage future generations to say, oh, actually, it's not just the men who win the medals, it's the women as well. And hopefully it's then, the floodgates open and more youngsters come through, because we do have a lot of youngsters coming through.
We do.
And hopefully Angar and Lauren is the catalyst for that.
Yeah, we'll discuss this on another podcast, British Hopes. We'll have a whole British podcast based around where we think swimmers can end up. And expectations is a strong word. Hope. Is probably the better word. What we hope to happen for the British team. Okay, that just about rounds up this week's bonus podcast from Propulsion Swimming. Let us know your 10 swimmers to watch. Do it even. 5 women, 5 men. It's easy to put Summer McIntosh as just the only woman, and she takes up like 5 races eventually. If you look at it. But no, let us know in the comment section below on YouTube. And yeah, I'm excited to see where everyone gets to.
Yeah, I think we've got it kind of right, but I think there might be some names that we have missed out on. But
definitely.
Please leave the names in the comments below, and we'll get back to you. And actually, we'll probably agree with you, but we've obviously got 10 spaces, so we've done our best.
Okay, before I sign off this bonus podcast of Propulsion Swimming, I just want to let you guys know that it was brought in partnership with One Flow Aquatics out in Summer Bay, the newest destination for your warm weather training camps on the Red Sea in Egypt. And you can book your next training camp now with Sports Abroad following the link in the show notes of this podcast. But until then, guys, we will see you in a couple of days' time, because we've got more podcasts on the way leading into World Championships.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll catch you on the next one.
You've been listening to the Propulsion Swimming Podcast with Scott and Dan. We want to thank you for joining us and invite you to subscribe to the show, as well as checking out the Propulsion Swimming YouTube channel for weekly tutorials and videos to get your swimming fix. We will be back next week. Until then, we'll catch you on the next one.